Hey everyone, what is up and welcome back to the channel. I'm Heather.
And I'm Casey.
And today we are here to discuss 8 things we will never get used to about living in Germany as Americans.
Yeah, they're all things that have taken some time to kind of understand, and I can't say get used to because it's things we haven't gotten used to, but have just taken time for us to
We're still
learn
processing.
to navigate.
Yeah, for sure. And there's some really good things we're not used to, or just kind of funny little random things that will probably seem silly maybe even to you, but to us, it's just, it's a unique experience. So if you're new to the channel, we are 2 Americans currently living in Germany, and we travel. We love to get ourselves immersed in other cultures and just try to kind of learn things we don't know. We love learning from you guys and trying all the food that's out there. So if you enjoy that type of content, definitely consider subscribing and giving this video a thumbs up. Always means a lot to us, and we love chatting with you down in the comments. So let's dive into these 8 different things we have on our list.
All right, so number 1.
Number 1 is, we're calling it rules of the road because we don't really have the perfect way of explaining this, but just some different things you see in the driving experience or the way things are laid out that are very different for us. So for example,
I remember the first time we came up to a construction zone, like the first week of driving here.
So crazy.
And I didn't expect there to be different color lines, and I didn't know which ones to follow. So if you don't know, yellow lines are the ones you follow in construction zones, and then the white is just every other line. But if there's yellow, you follow those. And I didn't know that, and cars started like moving over to follow them, and I was continued to go straight, and I didn't know what was going on.
Because you have white and yellow.
Yeah,
it's not like the white
lines.
goes away. They kind of cross over each other, so you're seeing like 2 sets of lanes, if that makes sense.
It really threw me for a loop, and then finally, maybe after like the 3rd construction zone we had gone through, I started picking up that everyone was following the yellow lines.
Yeah, it's definitely, I'm sure, again, a lot of these things, growing up with it, it's like second nature, I'm sure, to most people here, but ours is laid out so differently. So when we saw that, we're like, wait, white lines, like, what are we doing here? What are the yellow lines about? And our yellow lines back home are mainly dividing lines.
Right, yeah, so in the States, if there's yellow lines, it's a 2-way street.
Right.
And if it's white, it's a 1-way.
Right.
Whereas here, all the lines are white.
Yes.
Unless you're in a construction zone, then there's yellow that you follow.
Right.
Which gets very confusing to me. But
it does, and it's really weird because when we were talking over some of these things we wanted to talk about in this video, and I was thinking in my mind, oh my gosh, I'm starting to forget what some of the things are on the streets back home. I literally had to think for a minute because we are starting to adjust a little bit, so I think that's going to be strange when we do go back and drive now to see some of that. Another thing that kind of falls into the same category is, I know we talked about in a previous video, which I'll link overhead and down below, how the lights are different, and we really like how it goes from red to yellow to green to let you know. I think because there's a lot of manual cars here, it kind of gives you a heads up that you're going to go, not just that you're going to stop, which we really like.
Yeah. But
one thing we don't love about the lights is the placement of the lights, because they're really high over your head, and sometimes it depends on the light. Sometimes they're all right. Sometimes they're really, like, you really have to look up. And then other than that, they're way off to the right. Sometimes you don't have the overhead light.
Yeah, because they're all on the same side of the intersections.
Right.
Of, like, where you're stopped, versus in the States, it's on the opposite side of the intersection, so you can kind of look out at it versus trying to, like, look directly up at the light. And sometimes if you end up pulling too far forward, or you gotta like hit your brakes kind of last second because the light turns yellow or something, you get in a position where you can't even see it anymore.
Right, yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of times I'm like hanging my head out the window, and I'm like, well, maybe not literally, but where I feel like I'm hanging my head out the window.
Can I go yet?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay, good. Yeah.
Just to make sure we can see, especially depending on where on your car the frame hits, sometimes gives you like a blind spot with where the light's at.
Yeah, they're usually like directly behind my rearview mirror.
And
I can't see it.
You can't see it.
So.
And then the sort of last thing that falls into this category was, we were talking about generally here, there's no right turn on red. I think occasionally there might be an exception to that, but
I think I've seen that like one spot that there was a green arrow sign connected to the stoplight. Mm-hmm. And then other than that, I've
it's
never
pretty
seen,
rare.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty rare, and that takes some getting used to because it does keep the flow of traffic really good back in the States that way. But obviously, the road conditions and stuff in Europe are very different too. A lot smaller, windier, narrow streets in older towns. So I'm sure a lot of these things too have to do with those differences as well. There's reasons for things, but it's definitely been an adjustment for us on that.
Yeah, and I think at that particular streetlight, it was like a green arrow sign with a red stoplight, and then there was like a yield sign too. Mm-hmm. And yes. It was very confusing. I didn't know what to do, so I just stopped and waited.
Yeah, our American selves just freeze. We don't know what to do. Yeah, but that's been a big change for us too. Just driving experience.
It's been interesting. All right, number 2 on the list is the radio stations. And I think this kind of affects you more than me because you're usually the one tuning the radio like when we're driving.
I love music. It's like a tick I have. I can't drive without music. But it probably does. But to be fair, we're not really sure if this is our vehicle or if it's a Germany thing. It's on this list because it's happened in both of our cars. So we think it's a Germany thing. And one of our vehicles is a European, what's the right way to say that?
Eurospec?
A Eurospec vehicle. So we feel like we've tested it out. But the radio here, it's like you don't get a station for very long.
Yeah.
You'll be driving along, you get like one song, and then it gets distorted and grainy, and then you're having to change the station. It drives me bonkers because I love music so much, and I'll be like in my jam, and then it just kills my vibe, So I've started using Bluetooth a lot more here. But again, to be fair, I don't know if this is 100% a Germany thing. We just think it is, so let us know down below. And something else I've noticed with it, though, is, I'm not an expert on how radio frequencies work or anything, but it feels like sometimes a station will actually have larger reach, but they'll switch to another station number. Because I've noticed I can flip and hear the exact same song in the exact same place on a different station that now has clearer audio. So it's almost like as you travel, certain stations have multiple numbers, that you can dial in. So that's interesting too, because typically in the States you have a radio station for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And then you just don't have it anymore. There's not really like jumping station to station. So it's a unique thing for sure.
Not as frequent as you have to hear that I've seen anyways.
Yeah, for sure. All right, number 3 on our list are holidays, and just the amount of holidays and days off that everybody has here, which
it's every week.
It feels like it's every week. I don't know if it actually is, but honestly, it's a wonderful thing. Like, I wish we had that back home because I think it really is a good thing in terms of quality of life for people. It's a lot more of a work-life balance. But when we're used to 24-hour everything being open, it's a big adjustment. It's a big adjustment.
Yeah, and I don't even think, like, maybe it's a setting in my phone or something, but it doesn't populate all the German holidays in my calendar. So sometimes we try to go to the grocery store or something, and it's just closed. Everything's closed.
Everything.
And even in the States, on holidays, typically things are at least open with like reduced hours. Mm-hmm. They close earlier, or they have minimal staffing, but it's still going to be open. And here, you're just out of luck. Everything's just shut down.
But honestly, again, it's something I prefer. It's something I totally agree with from the standpoint of just a better work-life balance for people. But when you grow up for, however many years in the States, it is a big adjustment because you're used to just, I need to go do this. I'm going to go do it right now. But also, like I said, I still agree with it more here. I think we are a go, 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 go culture at times to a fault, and a work to a fault culture.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that so much about Germany, but again, it's definitely an adjustment.
It takes some planning.
Yeah. And if anybody has suggestions too, this is something we've noticed I know this probably sounds silly. Maybe I should just Google, German holidays and write them on my calendar. But it's not just holidays, but something else we've noticed is like with events. It seems like everybody knows about these festivals and knows about things, and we just kind of stumble upon them. We never see anything about them. It could be because of the language barrier too. We're just missing those cues.
There's probably signs everywhere.
There probably are. There probably are. That's a goal for me this year, is to start really learning the language more. I really enjoy it, and it'd be helpful. But anyway, the whole point is, it's taking some adjusting on the days off and stuff here.
All right, fourth thing on our list today, smoking.
Yes, so we want to handle this delicately because there's no judgment on anybody by any means, but the policy on smoking here is very different. It's kind of just anything goes, anywhere goes. It's very accepted, where in the States we have a lot more rules and regulations around smoking, where you can smoke, not really when you can smoke. It's more just where you can smoke. Almost all restaurants and bars you can't anymore.
Yeah, it used to be a big thing in the States.
It did.
And they slowly started implementing, you can't do that in here anymore.
Right. And even in public places, like, we frequent theme parks, obviously, and stuff, there's usually designated spots, but you can't just, like, walk through the park and smoke.
Some of them, anyways.
Some of them, yeah. Some of them. So, I'm actually very sensitive to smoke. It makes me cough, like, immediately. I have almost, I would say, an allergy to it. So that's been a big adjustment for me. I mean, the good news is a lot of times you are in outdoor settings. I don't know what the rules are like. I don't think I've ever noticed anyone like smoking in a restaurant.
No, but out like on the sidewalk seating and stuff, there's a lot of it. Yes.
So like sitting on a patio and stuff.
Yeah.
A lot of times I won't, just because I don't want to end up feeling like sick. But yeah, I mean, again, it's no judgment on anybody or anything like that. It's just very different from how we handle it.
It's very prominent here.
It's very prominent here, yeah. All right, number 5 is general efficiency / engineering. It's amazing here. We've kind of talked about it before, but it's something, again, the longer we live here, the more we see the little nuggets of that. Like, one of my favorite stores here is Pflanzenkohle, the plant store. And when you go inside, they have, what would you call that?
Like an escalator, but like flat.
Like a moving walkway that's on an incline and a decline instead of steps going up. But you take your cart, and it's got these specialized wheels, and you push it onto the ramp, and it locks itself onto the ramp. So you don't even have to hold onto the cart. It's just locks into place. And it's one of those things. It's such a little thing. And maybe there is one in the States somewhere. We've never seen it, but I certainly think in Germany they consider this type of stuff way more than in the States. And it's so nice. Or like packaging, you open up, cookies or whatever, and it's got this special way to open it that's so clean and just nice.
Allows you to like reseal it.
The windows, just don't even get me started. It's the efficiency and just the engineering here is chef's kiss.
All right, number 6 on the list is the amount of bakeries here, and just the locations of them too. I feel like any store you go to, there's a bakery. You go to
public bathroom, bakery. No, I mean, probably not a public bathroom, but it feels like that.
Basically, like you go to any of the gas stations, there's probably a bakery in there.
Literally.
You go to the hardware store, like bakery. OBI or Hornbach, there's a bakery.
Sometimes they have even a full restaurant. But bakeries are, I mean, it's everywhere, and we're not talking sandwich bread like we have in the States, like real,
like fresh cake and
good bread. Yeah, it's so good. Now I don't know how Germans view. I have no idea. This is no judgment in any way. I don't know if the bakeries that are attached to businesses are viewed as just like normal bakeries here, or if that's viewed, as more of like a
grab and go kind
of a place. Yeah, I'm not really sure, but it always seems like they have like what any other bakery would have. It's amazing, and it's so nice. I wish we had the bread culture of Germany, because the bread's so much better here.
It is really good.
Yeah. All right, number 7 is a really little one. It's just kind of a guilty pleasure for me personally here, but the flowers. Now, I can't really film. I'm going to insert a clip of some flowers at the Pflanzenkohle, but I can't really go up to people's houses and just show you flowers out in their yard and stuff, but
I mean, you could.
I could, but no.
Jail.
Yeah, I might go to jail. No, thank you. But the flowers here are so much more prominent, and I feel like they're more beautiful. I don't know if maybe it's all the rain and stuff that we get here.
They do seem to like last longer too.
Yes.
Like they're like, I don't know, the season's longer. It might be because of all the rain and stuff, but even like in the wintertime, I've noticed like our grass does not die.
Yes.
It just stays green.
Yes, and in the spring you just see tulip fields where you can go pick fresh tulips, and everyone seems to, even in smaller spaces where maybe they don't have a yard, they try to maximize their doorstep, and you'll see like, you know, roses growing up the side of the building, or even I'll see pots of different vegetables and stuff in front of their doorstep. You know, they make the most of being able to have flowers and gardening no matter what the situation.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and even sometimes I've noticed, like, there's a lot of roundabouts in Germany. That's another thing that it's definitely different than the States. But even sometimes the roundabouts are all landscaped
decorated,
beautifully. Yeah, it's so nice.
All right, last and not least, number 8. Not least. The hours of restaurants.
Yeah.
That's something that we're still dealing with and trying to get used to, because when you're hungry, you're hungry. And I feel like here you kind of got to plan. You know, even if you may not be hungry at 12:30, you probably should go eat, because the restaurant probably closes at like 1:30, and then you're not going to be able to get in until 5:30.
Yeah, exactly. It's, again, I think the way that life, the day-to-day life here is probably for most people fits into their work hours and their general lifestyle. But back in the States, there's a lot more, or at least it seems this way. I could be totally wrong about this, but I feel like our hours will be all over the place. Some people could be working the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Weird shifts where I feel like, again, this is not like Heather knows for sure, so I might be just making this up, but it feels like there's a lot more structured windows
like 9
for
to
work.
5 work hours. Yeah.
Yes. So where that stuff again kind of fits into the lifestyle. But just coming from America, again, where everything's open 24 hours a day, there's times we just forget because we've never had to plan around those hours.
Sometimes it's like 3 o'clock and we're like, hey, I'm hungry. Let's get early dinner. And no, you're not going to, because nothing's probably open.
Unless it's fast food.
Yeah.
So pizza, doner maybe, drive-thrus would be open, but we try to be somewhat conscious, especially because we do travel and try food so much, that it's like we know we're going to cheat some, so we really try to eat relatively healthy when we're not doing that, so we don't really like to have to eat in those windows. But yeah, that's been an adjustment for sure that I'm still
it still not used to.
Yeah. All right, so those are our 8 things that we are still not used to living in Germany. And again, a lot of these are wonderful things. They're just very different from American culture. If you have any other thoughts, or, you know, if you notice differences between American and German culture, leave it down in the comments. We hope you enjoyed this video. We do have a theme park channel as well where we vlog, and I just started a sewing channel, which is just a guilty pleasure for me because I love it. So those will always be in the description box for you, just in case it's something you're interested in. Hope you have a great rest of the week, and we will see you guys in the next one.
See you.
Bye.